to talk about mindset. Mindset. To me, mindset means that you are mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared for almost anything. Obviously, we can't be prepared for everything in life. However, if you have replayed the scenario over and over in your head of things that can go wrong, it's possible you can be prepared for most things. To me, a mantra that was told to me a long time ago that I still think about today is no one is coming to save you. Expect to self-rescue. What does that mean? That means that in your darkest times, whenever you're stuck, whenever you can't get out of somewhere, you can't expect to call somebody else to come help you. That the only person that's going to help you is you. So like Joe Rogan says, which you probably all listen to his podcast, he says, be the hero of your own movie. If you were watching a movie and you were the hero, and the movie just started and the hero's down on his luck and everything, the worst things in the world that are happening to the hero right now, how does the hero pull out of that? What does he do? That hero does whatever it takes to get better. Get better in life. Get better in shooting. Get better in fighting. Get the job promotion. Get more money. Be a better parent. Be prepared for the weather. Like right now, it's a freak snowstorm coming in. Prepared for what's going on. That's what the hero would do, and that's what you should do. Okay? Know your limitations. Know what you're good at. Know what you're bad at. When you're bad at something, what should you do? Obviously, you should fix it. You should get better. How do you do that? Let's just take, for example, you're bad at fighting, and you understand that you're bad at fighting, and you want to be better at self-defense. You understand that in today's world, that there are many things going on that you could be put in a precarious situation, and you might have to defend yourself or defend your loved ones. So what do? Easy. You can go to any BJJ school, any boxing school, any Krav Maga, any self-defense, anything, and tell them, hey, I want to learn. And you're gonna suck. You're gonna suck for a little while, but you know what? One day it's gonna click. One day it's gonna be better. And one day you're gonna realize that you just made a weakness one of your strengths. So if you take that mindset across the board, what else are you weak in? In your job, what are you weak in? In life, what are you weak in? Or could you make your relationships better? Could you be a better parent? Could you be a better sibling? Could you be a better son or daughter? Could you be a better friend? If you take that same mindset and you apply it across the board, what am I weak at? What do I need to get better at? And you start getting better, you train your weaknesses, you'll get better. And they won't be weaknesses anymore. When I was in the police academy, they taught us to play mental movies in our head. They taught us that we should think of, and we did this in the military and contracting as well, but they taught us to think of what is the worst thing that could happen to me right now in this situation. For example, being a cop, you go somewhere because people are fighting, and you walk up in there, you break out the fight, and then you realize you are surrounded by the people who you just broke the fight up with. So what's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is obviously they could, jump you and, beat your ass, right? So how can you fix that? What's the worst thing that could happen to you? How do you fix that? That's a mental move that you play in your head on the way to the call. So that way, when you got there, if you were in that situation, at least you know that you've been in that situation in your head and you know how to fix it. Same thing you could do in your vehicle. You know, what's the worst thing that could happen? You could get in a car wreck. You could get stuck in a snowstorm. You could run off the road. You know, there's a million different situations. And then how do you fix it? You know, how do you self-rescue? You know, do you have a first aid kit? Do you have one of these seatbelt cutters? You know, right here I have a seatbelt cutter that if something happens, I can grab that. I can cut my seatbelt. I can break the glass. And I know that if I need it, it's right there. So I've already played that mental movie in my head. I've already seen where my weakness was, and then I corrected it. I fixed it. And it's, if you keep doing that with every situation in your life, then your life will just become that much better and that much easier. Why do I feel that everybody should have the same kind of mindset that I do? Well, it's pretty easy, because you're not always going to have a cop there to save you. You're not always going to have your dad there to save you. You're not always going to have a friend there to save you. You're not always going to have a husband. You're not always going to have somebody like me who has this mentality there to save you. With that being said, if you were in a bad situation, wouldn't you want somebody to come save you? So why wouldn't you be that person? Why wouldn't you be that person that people can count on? That people know if they call you, you're gonna come, you're gonna be there, and you're gonna help. This is not limited to being a man, being a woman, being white, black, Asian, being gay or straight. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's have to do with self-reliance, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're capable of, knowing what you're not good at, and knowing the world that you live in. Knowing that at any time, somebody could come into a grocery store and start shooting people. Are you going to be the one that stands there with your cell phone? Are you going to be the one that runs out screaming? Or are you going to be the one that sits down in the corner and begs for their life? That's a question you got to ask yourself. I've never been in that situation. I've never been in a grocery store where somebody came in and started shooting innocent people. Never. I've been in a lot of situations. I've been in a lot of shooting situations. Never been in that one. I would like to think that through my training, through my mentality, and through what I've done in my life, I'd like to think that I would react in a certain way. I would like to think that I would not let that man get away with killing innocent people for no reason. And that's the kind of mentality I want everybody to have. You know, the fight, flight, or flee, right? They've done a lot of studies on it, and we'll get into that later, but you know, there's people that when something goes bad, they freeze. They can't even call 911. They don't know what to do. I've been on car wrecks, and there'll be somebody standing out there, and they'll have 911 on the phone. They got that part, but 911's like, where are you at? What's going on? And they don't know what to do, because they've never in their head thought that could happen to me. And it can happen to anybody. And when the time comes, are you going to be a liability, or are you going to be an asset?